Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Friday! This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios inside the bunker. An undisclosed location, beautiful New Jersey. You're shaking your head. Is there something wrong?
It's not Devils After Dark.
Oh, crap. Let's do this again. Let's stop the music. Hold on. My bad. Yeah. And I thought we got all the, the off-air stuff out of the way, all the potty mouth stuff. We don't want to be like Tim Saunders and the Flyers. But what's great about this podcast, Vinnie, is we could do a redo anytime we want because we're in full control. So let's try this again. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Friday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios inside the bunker, undisclosed location in beautiful New Jersey. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network. Devils taking on the Utah Mammoth. Yeah, the Utah Mammoth. The team that chose the name that I wanted because you have to fear the tusk, but they say tusks up. Yeah.
The Utah Mammoth, formerly the Arizona Coyotes. Oh, man.
Well, actually,
when we do these shows.
Arizona Coyotes, Phoenix Coyotes, Winnipeg Jets, Part 1.
Yep. Part 1, of course. But the interesting thing, fun fact, that people will surely not care about, the Utah Mammoth have their own history. Whoever leads their team in scoring this year will be the team's all-time leading scorer. Well, that's not true. They were the Utah Hockey Club last year. Whoever leads the 2 years combined is their all-time leading scorer. Shane Doan's Coyotes record or, anything that they did as the Winnipeg Jets. That stays with the Arizona franchise that is currently considered defunct. So yes, it was a transition. It was like an expansion and a relocation hybrid, kinda, with the way they set up the Mammoth. So it is. I think it's pretty cool for them. But hopefully tonight they have just a terrible, terrible night playing against the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Cleveland Browns. Did they keep their records? When Art Modell moved the team to Baltimore. Now, people don't know this because I had friends in college at the time, late 90s, that when the team moved to Baltimore from Cleveland, the fans in Baltimore were not receptive because they were still Colts fans that moved to Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as they won that Super Bowl with Ray Lewis, it was like game over. That's where they won them over because I guess winning solves everything, right?
It does, and they've been like a marquee franchise in the NFL since in terms of being well ran and everything good. Most NFL teams aspire to be. There have been a few that have been a cut above New England, Pittsburgh at times. Not Dallas, Green Bay at times, but Baltimore is one of the teams that's always. Oh, Kansas City, one of the teams that's always in the mix. So yes, winning solves everything. And man, I would love for the Devils to just be one of those teams again that people just look at and they're like, that's a model of consistency. That's Colorado. That's Dallas. That they've been that good for that long. So hopefully they'll build to it.
Yeah, and you know what? All the hype about Brett Pesce, do you think his presence is the real deal? I mean, the record speaks for itself so far. It's 9-1. He's 1-0 since he's been back. Do you feel like the team is just different with him in the lineup?
I do, because when I evaluate hockey, I think about things maybe a little different than some people. Every team needs, in order to be considered like a cup contender, every team needs like 3 or 4 things. And in my brain, you need a number 1 two-way center. Nico Hischier is capable of being that. I would put him against any number 1 two-way center in the NHL right now, except for Barkov. If he shed some of his defensive responsibilities, I think he'd be a 100-point guy. I really do. Like, I have no doubt of that, actually, because he was an 80-point guy by accident.
Yeah.
2 years ago, and this year he'll probably finish in the mid 60s, low 70s, right? But he's that good defensively. You need an offensive superstar, whether he plays center or wing. In the New Jersey Devils case, he plays center. He needs to be healthier and not cut his hand more often. You need a number 1 D. Can Luke Hughes be that? Hopefully. Can Simone Nemitz be that? Hopefully. Right now, it still probably is Dougie Hamilton, but I also think you need a number 2 whose sole focus is defending. And, but also what comes with defending is making a good first pass. You don't always end up on the score sheet because another defenseman or 2 forwards touch the puck after you make that first pass. So you don't score up on the score sheet. So you're not necessarily an offensive defenseman in the eyes of people either. But Brett Pesce does that. Brett Pesce is capable. He's one of the best defensemen in the NHL at shutting down odd man rushes. His stick work is incredible. It's very hard to get a shot or a pass through him. He does kind of have like a calming presence to him. There's not much rah-rah to him. I call him Diet Jakob Slavin. You watch Carolina play, Slavin is the best defensive defenseman in the National Hockey League right now, in my opinion. Is he the best overall piece? No, I think that's Cale Makar, and I would give Quinn Hughes the second nod. I'd probably put Zach Werenski third. But in terms of being a defensive defenseman, Slavin's the gold standard. Pesce's a diet version of him, and they played together for a long time in Carolina. And you see what Pesce does when he's with the Devils. Tonight they're playing the Mammoth. Pesce's going to see Keller. Cooley's out, so that's unfortunate for them. A break for the Devils, but I don't root for injuries personally. I'd rather beat you with everyone good in your lineup. But Cooley's out, but you're going to have Keller. You got Schmaltz. They have defensemen who can make plays themselves. Pesce's going to see all those guys. And if you manage his minutes correctly and you use him in the right situations, that puts Luke Hughes in an advantage. That gives Dougie Hamilton easier minutes. That makes things easier on Brendan Dillon, of course. Penalty killing. Penalty killing really took a slide when Brett Pesce went out, like big time. So you get him back. I was the tying goal last game a power play goal? I think it was, but still. The overall makeup of the team is just better when you have a defensive defenseman that good, that calm, and that sturdy in the lineup every single night.
Yeah. Yeah, and, the other fun fact, John Marino, which I got the jersey next to the Palat jersey behind me, 400 NHL games, I believe, is today. 400.
Yep, that is correct.
The Magic 400. Do you know what the Magic 400 is, apparently?
No.
Lifetime pension with the NHLPA. After you retire.
I did not know that, actually. For as big of a hockey nerd as I am, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I would fact check that. Yeah, because Mrs. Wu and I talked about it the other day. I'm like, how do I connive these teams 400 games, like sitting on the bench as a backup goaltender?
Yeah.
Maybe I can have that golden parachute to retirement life, just sitting there doing nothing.
Yep. I mean, if you're like raising kids and you could clearly tell they're not like but they want to play hockey, they want to play in the NHL, but they're clearly not, like a generational talent. They're not going to be McDavid or McKinnon or Crosby. Teach them to be Biz. Paul Bissonnette. Find a way to do the little things correctly. Make teammates and general managers like you enough to the point where you crack NHL squads, you play roughly 400 games in the NHL, and you're set for life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's lifetime pension. I don't know what the health benefits are or whatnot. But we heard about Phillip Rivers and that whole story about unretiring and then resetting the clock, both on his Hall of Fame selection. Now he's got to wait another 5 years. You know what? To be honest with you, I don't think that they should even have to stop the clock on that. They should make exceptions. That's just my opinion. The NFL.
I agree.
But the health insurance, he's got another 5 years for him and his family. I think that's fantastic that they have these kind of benefits. You know.
And I think if guys play a certain number of games in minor hockey too, minor pro, meaning the AHL, they should get benefits as well. So I did look it up. Biz only played 202 games in the NHL, but he played a lot of games in the AHL, including being a Calder Cup champion.
Yeah.
And I see someone, is it Michael in the chat, saying he did nothing? Listen, I know it's funny to make fun of him. He only had 7 goals, blah, blah, blah. He did more than nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not acting like he was anything more than a fourth line plug, which is exactly what he was. But the funniest thing to me about Biz's career is that he ended it as a plus player. He's +7 in his NHL career. Plus minus is kind of a bogus stat for a lot of reasons, but I don't think it is for someone like Biz because he wasn't out there for trying to tie the game, right? He had 7 career goals. He wasn't someone who was out there to try and tie the game. He also wasn't out there trying to defend a 1-goal lead. So his plus minus was never really affected by, weird things that are out of his control. Like you can say about Jack Hughes. How many minuses has Jack Hughes taken because of somebody throwing one into an empty net while he's out there trying to tie the game? That's why part of the reason I think plus minus is a BS stat because your opponents can impact it. But I think if you're a guy like Biz who's only ever played on the fourth line, he also had a Corsi for of 51%. Teams they weren't handed goals when he was on the ice. You know, he was hard to play against, and he doesn't stick around and play at least a couple games a year in the NHL for parts of 6 seasons if that wasn't the case. And that's why I think he's a real good commenter now, because he knows what it takes to carve out a career without the supreme talent. And when people were criticizing him for criticizing Connor Bedard last year, I didn't have a problem with anything he said because of those reasons. He can go out there. I would love to have him around the Devils more often because I do believe there's something to be said about carving out a career, being a plus player, having a good Corsi, all these things that general managers kept signing him. Calder Cup teams always wanted him in the AHL. There's something to be said for that. And I think if superstar guys had mentalities and work ethics like that, you would be more successful in your career.
And in terms of broadcasters, fourth liners are usually the better personalities because they see the game differently than most. When we do live events like in the past, and we should probably get back to, if you remember, before COVID, especially when we did live events, we had players come in to our game day live and these watch parties. It's usually the fourth liners that have the better stories than the Gretzkys and the Messiers. It's the ones that played with them usually see things a lot differently and very uniquely. Like for example, Chico Resch on the Flyers. I don't think he was the number 1 goaltender that season when he got traded to Philadelphia when he was playing on the 1987 team. But man, he had a great story about that brawl that him and the guys start, with the Montreal Canadiens by putting the nets down and all that kind of stuff, when you hear those stories. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but as a commentator, you want fourth liners to be doing the color commentating,
Think about all the good ones. I think in a lot of sports, sometimes those guys know a little more. When he said that about the Hughes brothers all making their way to Minnesota, first of all, I think it's crazy to just completely dismiss that possibility. Like, I'm not going to say I'm worried, but like, I'm not going to also act like that's not like, if Quinn signs an 8-year deal with Minnesota, the closer Jack gets to 2030, the more that's going to be a conversation. I'm just sorry to say.
Yeah.
I pray on my knees every day that we find out that Quinn is not going to extend in Minnesota. He promised Bill Guerin nothing, and he's going to come to the Devils. I pray every day. It's Christmas in a couple days. But, I mean, if he inks an 8-year deal, I'm sorry to say that worry's going to start being in the back of the minds of a lot of people.
Yeah. At the same time, I go with the flow. If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I mean, we can always
Agreed.
dream,
Yep.
but it wasn't there. It could be a blessing in disguise. I mean, the book is still being written right now,
Yep.
on it. It could be all three teams have wildly successful runs in the next 15 years. You never know
Absolutely.
if Minnesota wins their first cup. You never know if the Devils win 5 cups because they didn't make that trade. They were able to get certain players, and they go on a tear. You just don't know that. You don't know that the Hughes brothers eventually play together where Quinn is he's 40 years old and he's just like on his last, year, and they trade him from Minnesota because he signed long-term to the Devils. And they go, you just don't know. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You're spot on.
But
You're absolutely spot on.
But we still have the post-traumatic, syndrome disorder. I don't know if I got the acronyms right, but because we saw what happened with Niedermeyer and his brother, we felt that it robbed us maybe a cup or two because of that, and gave the cup to Anaheim. We were robbed of that. I'm trying to think of any other brother scenario, with the New Jersey Devils. But, and then, Lou Lamoriello got Steven Giunta, when we had Brian Giunta. There's several brothers, that played, on the New Jersey Devils. So, anyway, we want to get your predictions for tonight's game because I'm already seeing Bill Agnew saying 3-2 Devils. But we want to get your predictions tonight because this is a big game for the New Jersey Devils before they come back home on Sunday to play the Buffalo Sabres. Roster freeze is going to be in effect, I guess, after today, Vinny?
Yes, I believe so. I'm not positive on the exact time. I'm pretty sure it's midnight Eastern. I would make it midnight West Coast, so that way it's midnight everywhere in the two countries before that happens. But sounds like it's midnight Eastern.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. What's your prediction, Vinny?
I think the New Jersey Devils are going to beat the Mammoth 5-1.
5-1.
Offensive explosion. I need an offensive explosion tonight. You have to go out there and beat the Mammoth.
John Marino's having a good year, plus minus.
Sure is. Yeah.
Plus minus wise. I haven't seen.
He's a good player.
Oh, he's always been. I've always liked John Marino. I mean, I have his jersey to prove it. Only wore it once, and the tags are still on it. I only wore it once, and that was that Four Nations tournament.
So you wore it with the tags on it?
Yeah, like an idiot. I didn't realize the tags were still on it because I bought it, and I just, like anything else, you bought it, he's gone. I just threw it over to the side. I forgot about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But when I was taking the jersey off, I'm like, what the heck is this? I was like, and the tags are still on it. Not that I'm trying to resell it or anything, but I just want to make it like more authentic. So that's a heck of a score. You want to read out the scores, Vinny?
Yes, I would love to read out the scores, Sam. We're getting a couple of them here. You mentioned Bill said 3-2 Devils. Nick Adams says 5-3 Utah tonight because Markstrom is starting. That's Markstrom's reputation right now. Former Vezina finalist just a couple of years ago. Not playing well for the Devils. I think that's true, but you see this happen with goalies all the time. They go through bad stretches, especially after an injury. They find a way to win 10 in a row then later, and then they'll lose 5 in a row and look terrible. That's goalies in the NHL. Unless you're one of like 5 guys, that's really just the life of goalies. Selecta says 4-3 Devils. T. Dermati says 4-3 Devils. Felix says 4-3 Devils in overtime. Survey, I'll copy you all. 4-3 Devils. We do got a lot of 4-3 Devils. I'm thinking about changing mine. Michael Hay says low scoring 4-2. Last goal, empty net for who else? Palat. I mean, 4-2 would. No, that really wouldn't hit the over because most overs are 6 or 6.5. Joey says 4-2 Devils. Always something says 3-1 Devils. Let's see. RME says 2-1 Devils. Markey is invigorated by the legendary Pesci coming back. I mean, Pesci won't hurt Markstrom's chances to bounce back. Robert says 3-1 Devils, and the Devils managed to get through the first minute without taking a penalty. Whoa, Rob. Let's calm down with the hot takes there, Rob. Dag says 5-3 New Jersey. Markey with another bad start but strong finish. Okay. Let's see. AJ Visco says 4-3 Devils. Elisa says 6-4 Devils. Bill Agnew asks if I'm still married. Yeah. It's been like a month. Not even. It's been like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
How does it feel, Vinnie?
That feels wonderful. It's been amazing.
You still in that
it's been a
honeymoon
really
phase?
good month.
Still in that,
yes,
like,
I always will be.
Okay.
I always will be.
That's a good answer.
Yes, oh yeah. Meadowlander says 6-4 Devils. Big J Fisherman says 2-1 Devils. Nick Adams wants me to point out that Markstrom has the 54th best save percentage in the league. Glad he was extended early. But it's not that long of an extension. I do think people overreact to the extension because they act like he's here till 2050 making $9 million a year. Like, they're getting out from under Markstrom.
$9 million.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's a little annoying that they extended him, but I think that is the last of the Devils' worries long term.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet that lady on Sunday. I was thinking of sitting in section 15 and acting all weird just to throw her off her game with her $9 million. Did you get Lisa's score prediction?
I did. She said 6-4.
6-4. I think she's right on that one, says Meadowlander.
Yep.
That's a good prediction. That was
it's
actually
a high scoring prediction. 10 goals? That'd be awesome.
That was actually my prediction. But now she said it. Now I can't have that prediction.
Why not?
Because that would be branded as a copycat. And I'm not a copycat.
Copycat woo. Nobody's ever going to convince you of being a copycat, Sam.
Oh, no. Remember that one journalist? I don't know if she was a journalist, but she was a blogger and accused me of plagiarism, and I didn't even know who she was. You know me, I don't go on Twitter that at the time. I don't go on Twitter that often. Lately I've been on just because, required to post. But yeah.
Sam, you put on a football helmet and pretend you're watching football while you watch hockey. You have an Andre Palat and a John Marino jersey hanging behind you, and you created Rangers Suck fortune cookies. I don't think anybody who's smart is going to accuse you of not doing anything other than being original going forward.
Yeah. Bill,
you wore Marty Brodeur's goalie equipment to a game. They did some dancing behind the bench.
I might have to do it again on Sunday, where it's. I was thinking of holding a sign that says Marty Christmas.
Marty Christmas.
Marty Christmas.
I love that.
And I'll be in the goalie pads and just act weird in front of the $9 million lady.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm
Section
excited.
15.
I get to go to the United Center on Festivus.
Yeah.
So I'm going to air out some grievances with some people there, too.
Yeah. Survey says Woo using AI for plagiarism. Actually, that's not true. Because when you actually use AI, you got to tell AI what you want. AI will help it. And then afterwards, it's edits. You remember your wedding? When I did your song for your wedding?
Oh,
I was like
9 people had me.
Yeah, I was
their free time.
I was doing edits right against the clock before going to the venue. I was doing edits, and I actually had to DoorDash and eat lunch while I was doing the edits. That's how dedicated I was. And Bill Agnew, what's that?
I'm not like the biggest AI fan in terms of like these weird pictures or videos you see online. I love the music it creates. Like the Beatles are going to live forever because of AI. But you don't just plug stuff in and it pops out perfectly right away. You got to work at it. You got to be smart. Dumb people make bad AI slop. Sam Wu makes wonderful jams about weddings and Nico Escher.
Yeah, you should see my memes before AI. I haven't tried AI with memes yet, but my memes are really, like, my photoshopping skills are bar none. Like, I don't do, like, design work for, like, actually, I did the redesign of AW's menu, as a favor. But, all this kind of stuff, like, I can do that, but my best work is, I have to find this, and I know we're kind of, like, blabbing right now or up against the clock, but back in my trolling days in college, you know how I always say, like, the New York Oilers or New York Oil Hawks, the 94 team? I spent a whole effing day photoshopping the 94 Stanley Cup Rangers picture, and I photoshopped it all with the Oilers jerseys on everybody's. And I have to find that. Or and it went viral. You see it all over the place. There's different variations now. But the Rangers logo and putting Rangers suck, that was me back in 2003. And there's a one little, like, miscue that I did, and I know it's my artwork because I know where that miscue is on the logo. So, yeah. So Bill Agnew asked something, and I think you as a witness, Vinny. What did he ask? Is Vinny still married here? Hold on a second. I gotta.
Dougie to Dallas.
Morning Woo rocks. Is Dougie going to Dallas? Is that over the? Wait.
No, is that what he asked?
I think he asked, like, how do I have time with a regular job or something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah. He also asked about Dougie to Dallas, which I have not heard at all. But yeah,
Vinny, you're a witness to this. And I'm not paying you under the table to agree with me. I have a crazy work schedule. It's insane. It's like blocking out time for this, that. Like, if people knew the insaneness of the schedule, even including missing the first half of the games, even at American Whiskey, when I'm breaking down, I'm listening to the game in my ear while I'm breaking down and setting up for Devils After Dark. It's behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't see. But yeah, I'm normal as everyone. And also, somebody asked if they saw my the Woo Jeep 1 at Target. I didn't go to Target because I refuse to go to Target for a variety of reasons. I think Target is the stupidest store on earth. But I went to Michael's at that same mall because I was looking at seeing if I can, because I have a big Chico Resch poster and I wanted to look at the frames to see how big the frames are. It's the one where he's like standing next to a ruler and he's like 6 foot high, the old school from the 80s, all that. Oh, yeah. I wanted to see if they actually had frames or all that, so I was kind of asking questions. Anyway, Metal says, say thanks to Marino for Yegorov. I will tell Paul to pass it on to John. All right, so here's my score. And also, hello to Jason Stevens, 9274. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Let's Go Devils, saying hello from Utica. All right. I just bought a printer from Target. Return that survey. Return that printer. Target. I hate Target. I hate Target. Along with Wawa, but for two different reasons. I was going to say 6'4" Devils to go along with Lisa, but knowing that she's my wife's BFF now, I'll go 6'4" Devils.
Nice.
Now my
Nice.
wife is going to tell me that I'm a copycat, but I'm not a copycat.
No, you're not.
No.
All original.
I don't plagiarize. Yeah. If anything,
No.
I'll do a parody, but not. No, I don't plagiarize. All right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. All right. Well, Danico's on time is almost up, says Michael Hay. All right. Well, I guess it's time's up. Vinny, maybe we'll gossip off air. You know, Vinny, I think we're still on air. Those Flyers announcers.
Did I really just say that and everyone heard?
Yeah. Are you going to something down there?
Sam, you are suspended for the next 2 podcasts.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
God. I need a break. All right. Well, I want to thank all those tuning in, dropping the podcast in a couple minutes. Devils After Dark, after the game, Scotty of Sirius XM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. Thank you. Till next time, let's go Devils.